it's the Catholic CEO, Henry Kutarna. You know that one of our projects is that we are fostering the development of the Catholic economy. The concept is that as Catholics, we can resist the culture, we can make changes in the economy, in legislation, in law, in practice, in all sorts of aspects of life. And we can do this by becoming an economic strength powerhouse. We can build an economic force that allows us to be influential in the culture. There's lots more I could say about that, but you can find our information on thecatholiceconomy.com. Today, I have 48 ideas to blast through in quick order. 48 ideas in 12 different categories of how you can support a Catholic economy, even if you don't have a business of your own, even if you don't intend to start a business of your own, even if you don't have income or wealth to any great degree. Here's how you can help support a Catholic economy. Let's take a look at the first categories, 3 of them: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Let's group those together. First of all, in prayer, I have 5 quick ideas for you. If you have a business, have a patron saint for your business. If you don't have a business, but you support a Catholic business, let's say it's your favorite Catholic business, ask for the help of a patron saint for that business, or find out who the patron saint of that business is, and then also pray for protection and for God's will. Remember, we're not praying for profit or for worldly success. We're praying for the fact that God's will be done, or for protection for the employees, the customers, the owners, that sort of thing. If you have a business, pray for your employees and your contractors and those who support your business. If you have a business that you support, pray for its employees. Pray for those who buy from that business. Practice mental prayer. Mental prayer is an important development in your faith journey, in your spiritual life, and you can support ideas in your mental prayer, such as a business, or for the success of the Catholic economy, or for ways that our Lord can help us to resist the culture. And certainly in your own prayer life, we can move to the different levels of the spiritual life. There's a famous book by Father Lagrange called The 3 Ages of the Interior Life, where you can personally move along the path from the purgative to the illuminative to the unitive. And it's a very interesting book. It's a 2-volume set. It's a tough slog in many ways because it's a long book with detailed theological concepts. Here's one for your edification. The purgative way, you have to stop sinning venially. You have to stop sinning deliberately, venially. That's the beginning of the purgative way. So it gives you some idea of the growth. Anyway, prayer, you can see where I'm going with that. Fasting. We've been asked all the time to fast for intentions. So what's wrong with fasting if you have a business for your own employees and contractors and those who support you, your customers? What's wrong with fasting for your own penance in your own development as a Catholic? And what's wrong with fasting for your customers and their intentions? This is not offering this for profit or for worldly success. It's offering it for the spiritual good of others, which is not only charitable, but just. Almsgiving. Now we're getting a little bit more specific on how anybody, no matter how small income or how small the wealth is, if you are an owner of a business, you can give free items, for example, to convents, to monasteries, to priests who may not have the income that you have, or even to the poor. You can give away items in your store, in your shop. This is done quite commonly. You could tithe your income. If you're a business owner, even if you're not, you could give a percentage of your income away to charitable causes, to the church, to people who need it. You could provide grants and financial support to people who are conducting worldly activities in a sense, but who have a Catholic focus to them. I'm thinking of choirs. I'm thinking of sports groups, Catholic sports groups that are seeking funds. Or, for example, Troops of St. George, other such organizations that really need financial support. You can do this at a personal level. You can do this as a business owner. I'm going to move now into three other categories: the category of buying, category of selling, and the category of giving business advice. So under buying, here are four ideas. You could easily buy as a group. If you're a Catholic business owner, let's say you're a plumbing shop, you could find the other Catholic plumbing shops in your town, in your city, in your area, and you could purchase together, and you could create advantage for yourselves that way. You can get a better financial deal, no problem with that, but you could also form a powerful force in the marketplace and be recognized as such. You can buy from a Catholic business. If you don't own a business of your own, but you're a consumer, you can buy from a Catholic business first. You could go select, do your due diligence, do your research when you want to buy a product, but go support a Catholic business, even if the cost is a little bit higher, because you might be doing some good then to support a Catholic family who then wants to keep that family together and work in the culture, not be of it, but in it, and therefore get support from for other Catholic businesses. You could form your own small Catholic supply chain. Of course, if you're a business owner, you can do this and you know what has to be done in your particular supply chain to create a healthy supply chain, but perhaps one that's all Catholic in its approach. But what if you're not? What if you're just a consumer? You could create your own supply chain. When you are spending money from your household budget on groceries, consumables, things for the home, you could create your own Catholic supply chain by going only to Catholic businesses, for example. Yes, the challenge of higher price, perhaps. You might say a Catholic small business might be more expensive than a big box chain store, but you may want to do this anyway. You could also do it in what we call the negative option. You could stop supporting the big corporates. You could stop going to stores or buying from online stores that are famous, big, who offer a huge price advantage, but who may not have values similar to yours. In the category of selling, 5 ideas. We could sell as a group. Catholic businesses could get together and promote themselves, market, do advertising on a joint basis. Once again, you could identify as Catholic. You could work together in the marketplace to prove that you have excellent products and provide them to people. And you could sell that as a group, and you could gain some market power that way. It's done all the time. There's no reason we can't do the same thing. You could do special promotional items. If you're selling something, you could give a certain kind of discount for Catholics. Now, I know this is very challenging. I understand that you will be perhaps fighting against laws and regulations that prohibit certain types of discrimination. But there's a way to support fellow Catholics by giving them special pricing or special features or special 2-for-1 or some other way to indicate your support for fellow Catholics. You could use Catholic images in your selling. You could use morally upright images in your selling. You could be non-manipulative in your marketing and advertising. You could be honorable in all sorts of ways as you sell your product and your service. Advice and counsel. I have 6 ideas. You could offer to help and advise a startup, a home-based business, somebody at your parish who's starting a business or who's having some challenges. If you know what you're talking about and you have experience, you could simply offer to help. You wouldn't necessarily do this as a business. You might just do it ex gratia, just try to help people in a generous way. You could set up a board of advisors in your parish or in your town to support Catholic businesses. Let's say you had a panel of 3 or 5 people, business people who are experts, who have a lot of experience. You could set them up as an advisory board. You could have people come in front of the advisory board on a confidential, private basis, and you could give advice to them. You could set up literally a board of advisors for a business, going beyond just the advice stage, but actually becoming part, not of the governing board necessarily, but of the advisory board for an actual business. And you could work with that business on an ongoing basis. You could volunteer, whether you're a business owner or not, whether you're an ordinary Catholic looking to support the Catholic economy, you could do some volunteer work for a private company. Put in a few hours. They don't have to pay. There's a little bit more revenue, a little bit more income. The Catholic business might thrive and survive a little bit longer by the fact that you simply will volunteer for them. You might give ideas for a Catholic startup. You might see a promising young entrepreneur in your parish, a young man or young woman who has some talent and ability, but who may need some encouragement on how to start a little business, particularly a home-based business. You could encourage the entrepreneurial attitude at home, within families. Once again, if you see a promising young person, you could say to them, you know, I noticed that you're pretty good at selling. I noticed that you speak well. I noticed that you articulate well. I noticed that you have a skill set in something. You're a woodworker, or you're a metal worker, or you're good with cars, or you're good with writing, or you're good with performing on a musical instrument, and so on. If we can do this and support that kind of a person by advice and counsel, we can help create a Catholic economy rather than taking, the passive or detached approach. In the area of investing, we know that there are grant programs out there. What would be wrong with creating Catholic grant programs, even a small one in your parish? What if you said to a business in your parish or a person starting a home-based business, I'm going to give you a grant. What? A grant? Yes, I'm going to give you $100. I'm going to help you buy product. I'm going to help you do some marketing, or I'm going to give you some of my professional time. Let's say you're a professional marketer and you said to a company in your parish, I will donate to you $500 worth of my marketing time in the form of a grant of my time. You could lend money. We don't only have to rely on banks or even the most creative ideas like credit unions. In our parishes, in our communities, we could support fellow Catholic businesses by lending them money, even $500, even $1,000. Certainly, if you had a due diligence method and you had much more capital to lend, you would be able to do that, of course. But there's no reason that even a person who is not a business owner or who has a small business of their own could lend some money, even $500, even $1,000 to a home-based business at low interest or no interest. Really makes a difference. Sure, it's risky. I understand all of that, but it could be done. As a consumer, one way of investing in a company is to tip the employees. Let's say you go to a coffee shop that's owned by Catholics or a restaurant. What's wrong with tipping very generously? Now, I understand tipping is a controversial point because there are those who believe that there should be no such thing, that we should pay the wage that's competitive right at the source and not rely on the customer to pay for extra service. I understand that. But let's suppose that you accept that the idea of tipping is in place in the economy. You could go and tip. You could do that. You could order something from a Catholic-owned businesses and prepay the order. You can help their cash flow. You could help them pay down debt quicker by prepaying an order. A small act like that goes a long way to support a company. You could buy two of something and give one away to the poor, To a street person, I don't know, something. You know what? You understand what I mean. You could buy a quantity more than you intended, more than you need, and then you could give it away to somebody who needs it. Hiring, 5 ideas in hiring. We could create in our businesses a pool of Catholic candidates for jobs. What's wrong with looking deliberately for skill set in any particular field you wish to think about? Create a pool of Catholic candidates. Again, this has to be done cautiously because there could be criticism of the idea of you zeroing in only on Catholics. But there's no law that prevents you from hiring a worthy candidate as long as you have advertised it in ways that are in conformity with laws and regulations. What if you had a hire parishioners first policy? In other words, if you need an employee, you go to your parish first. You advertise in the parish bulletin first. You spread the word first within your parish. You spread the word first within Catholic parishes in your town or city. Then you go to the other job boards and the other professional services. What if you helped refer other Catholics? Let's say you hear about somebody in your parish, say a young person is just finishing school, finishing college, university, finishing high school, finishing trade school, developing a skill. They need work. What if you went out of your way to help advertise them, refer them to your best clients and your best customers, help them get a job, actually physically take part in understanding their skill set, looking at their resume, and enforcing with them a kind of a discipline of using leverage, using other people to help them gain some support in the marketplace? What if you did that instead of, again, passively watching and wishing them good luck? Actually do something about it. Wouldn't that be interesting? And finally, the area of promoting businesses. In our dinner table conversations at home, talk about entrepreneurial approaches, talk about business, discuss ways that you can make money and be independent of the culture and be self-supportive and not have to work in the corporate environment where they press you to do things that are against the Catholic faith. What if we supported the idea of growing small home-based businesses? What if we hired each other's children for small jobs, the snow shoveling contract, the grass cutting contract, various small jobs? Let's say you have to do a deep house cleaning. You hire 5 of the neighborhood's children to do that instead of professional outsiders. Again, there's a million ideas out there of how you can help promote entrepreneurial attitudes and support Catholic businesses. One of the most fun ideas that I used in my own life was at a certain age, I said to the kids, no more allowance, I'm not giving you an allowance. What? What's going on? Well, the idea was the allowance was gone, but I replaced it with contracts. And so you could get the garage cleaning contract. You could get the fridge cleaning contract. You could get the gutter cleaning contract. You could get the grass cutting contract, the snow removal contract. You could get the gardening contract. You could put the planting flowers contract. You could get all sorts of contracts. And so the children learned at an early age, what are the 5 elements of a contract? They learned about performance. If you don't do what your contract calls for, not only in the family do you have to then still do the job, but you don't get paid for it. Well, and you also lost the bonus. Don't forget to build in a bonus for your children's contracts, because that teaches them industrious practices. It teaches them to be efficient. It teaches them to learn how to schedule, how to be responsible, how to carry out their promise and earn some more money. And of course, obviously, in the parental situation, in the parental family Catholic economy, you're going to probably be even more generous than your old allowance number. And so your children will be, I think, happy about the idea. and you'll be doing something good because you will be imparting upon them an entrepreneurial skill. So you see, what I've done today is blasted through a whole list of ideas of how you can support the Catholic economy in general, even if you don't own a business, even if you're an ordinary consumer with lower income, you can do something. You can do your small part. This can't be done in a coordinated fashion. We can't organize thousands and thousands of Catholics all over North America to do this. But if each one of us took the idea on our own, as our Lord has often said to us, we don't have to be successful in creating a Catholic economy. We just have to try. And there's something very positive about trying to create a Catholic economy, because we're supporting fellow Catholics in their family life, the family being the fundamental unit of society. If we can do our part to support that in some way, and of course, in the Catholic economy, we're talking about financial, business, purchasing, consumer, that sort of behavior. But that's all part of supporting fellow Catholics. And it's all part of supporting our parishes and our churches. And it's all part of creating a Catholic economy. Let's think about this. Let's begin acting right now on creating a Catholic economy. We can do it, and you can do your part, no matter how small it is, no matter how unimportant or insignificant you think your efforts are. They will be noted, and our Lord will reward you, I believe. So those are some ideas. It's the Catholic CEO, Henry Kutarna. Thanks for joining me today.